The whole idea of attachment theory is that we need to reattach to the thing that we're separated from. There comes in this process this feeling of depression when you start to believe that you will never make that reconnection. One of the tools that people use is that they start to try to help others who are in the same situation. There comes a moment when you start to say, okay, let me take back some of my control.
Welcome to America Lost and Found. America Lost and Found originated because my sister Gina disappeared October 17th, 2000. In the 24 years since she's been missing, I have learned a lot. And one thing I learned that is the most profound is to not miss out on my own life because I'm missing her. And I feel like that applies to all the losses in our lives. Some losses are easy to get past, and some are very challenging, and they trip us up. And so this series is to help you gain tools to navigate the losses in your life and to make your life better. And today we have a wonderful guest. His name is Duane T. Bowers. He is a trauma educator, author, therapist, and certified wellness coach, in private practice. For the past 2 decades, he has provided support to families of victims of missing, murdered, and exploited and trafficked persons, and has supported and trained the professional staff, law enforcement, and agencies who work with these families. That's how I met Duane, because he worked with me along with many other families who have lost a loved one, and they volunteered for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to be mentors for other people who are going through this. And I feel very fortunate to have met Duane. His advice and his calm nature really bring into focus how we can navigate these losses. So welcome, Duane.
Thank you. It's good to be here, Janelle. And I was thinking that 20 years, that 2 decades is fast becoming 3 decades, I think,
Oh,
for both of us, isn't it?
it
Yeah,
really is.
having been in this field. Yeah.
It really is. It's a lot. It's a lot, but I find the tools are so applicable to the daily life. It's not just about missing. It's not just about missing people. And yes, it's a devastating thing to go through for anybody. Some people think it's the worst thing in the world. I don't know if it is, because I haven't faced everything. But I know it can open you up to a world of learning and a world of beautiful people who have taken difficult things and made something unimaginable with their lives. You know, when I was growing up and I heard about somebody having a murdered sister or, something devastating, I just couldn't imagine how you could face it and how you could go on with your life. But now I know that anything is possible. And our topic right now is, sometimes I just feel like I'm not doing enough to find my sister because she's still not here. And I know many of the families of the missing go through that. It's, even if you could be working 24/7 and feel like you're not doing enough. You could be so heavy with sorrow that you can't do anything at all. And then you feel like, wow, I can't even lift my head up. I'm so sad. So and then there's everything in between. And so what do we do with those emotions where we feel like, wow, I just am not doing enough to find her? And, the guilt that comes with that. What do we do with that?
Let me first explain where that comes from. It's based on attachment theory, which became real popular back in the 70s, and then it wasn't so popular anymore. And then it came back in the 90s, and now it's very popular again. But this guy named Bowlby, Bawlby, said that all mammals go through certain steps when they're separated from something that they are attached to. And so if you ever watch any animal TV shows and that sort of thing, you see that when a a leopard cub goes missing, there's this pattern of behavior, the same, and it's very much the same what we would do. And so some of those steps include things like searching and searching relentlessly. The whole idea of attachment theory is that we need to reattach to the thing that we're separated from, and we don't let anything stand in our way. And anything that we think is standing in our way, we will attack in some kind of way. And if in working with families of missing, you know that one of the biggest places that people feel may not be supporting them enough is law enforcement, and that's one of the places they tend to attack. I don't mean physically, but they're not satisfied with, and that they vent a lot of anger in that direction, expecting that if their loved one hasn't been found, then law enforcement hasn't done their job, basically, is the thinking. Well, along with that is this idea of searching relentlessly. And then that feeling you talked about not being able to get out of the bed, there comes in this process this feeling of depression when you start to believe that you will never make that reconnection. And one of the things I have seen over and over with families of missing is they go through that whole cycle over and over again. They search relentlessly. They put themselves in dangerous situations, going out into parts of the city and parts of the town that they shouldn't be going in, putting up flyers, doing everything they can to get some attention for their loved ones so that they can be found. And they'll go through that whole process and then reach a point where they start to kind of lose their hope for a little bit. And they start thinking, you know what, I'm never going to be reconnected with my loved one. And they go into that horrible depression. And then eventually they come back out of it. Next thing you know, they're out searching again. So I just wanted to normalize, first of all, that pattern of behavior based on that theory of attachment. That's what we go through. Now, I will take this one step further and then come back and talk about specific things we can do. But one step further is once one of the tools that people use who have a missing loved one is that they start to try to help others who are in the same situation. Um, it's a means by which, if I can't do anything else for myself, if I've done everything that I know to do and everybody else has told me to do, if I can help somebody else, at least I feel I'm accomplishing something. At least I feel something positive has come out of this. And I will work toward that. And so it's an attachment to something new. So one of the ways out of that cycle is to attach to something new. Now, I'm not saying it replaces your loved one in any way and that you give up on your loved one. No, you're still searching, you're still going through that things, but you have more control over your life because you're pushing your energy, you're directing your energy to something to help someone else. And that's so where we met at the National Center for Missing Exploited Children. That group, that's exactly what all those members of that group do because they're becoming mentors to help somebody else. Because most people didn't have that when they went through it. I don't really remember, but I don't think you had a lot of support when you started.
I did.
Yeah. And so being able to support somebody, just letting somebody know that, hey, I've been there. I can't tell you what to do. I can't tell you how to find your loved one, but I'm here if you need to talk. That in itself, the presence of someone is very positive. So I just wanted to make that point that this is a natural reaction. And once you understand that what I'm going through is natural, again, it's not going to make it any easier, but it helps me to understand that I'm not crazy. that I'm not unique, that I'm not the only one who's gone through this or felt these feelings. So what can we do about it? Well, I think allow ourselves to go with it to a degree. But I've met too many people who, when they were searching, they put everything into the searching. They lost their job, they lost their family, they lost friends because all they could do was that. And so if you find yourself in that situation where you're just so obsessed with that, it's a good idea to get some help. And I mean professional help, just to go talk to somebody about how do I balance my life? Because you're not going to be able to do it on your own if you're obsessed with that part of the cycle. So that can be helpful, but also finding an organization like the one at National Center for Missing Exploited Children who have other people who have experienced it so that you can talk to them and they can say, oh yeah, I went through that. And here's what I had to do to pull myself back. Do you think that would work for you? That's really helpful as well. So those are a couple of ways. When you get into that depression, there's really there's no tool to get out of depression other than to know this will pass. It will. It will pass. It's what I'm experiencing right now, but it will pass. There will come a moment when I say, yes, I feel horrible, but I gotta go take a shower because I can't stand myself anymore. I gotta go take my meds. I gotta get something to eat or I won't be able to do anything. There comes a moment when you start to say, okay, let me take back some of my control.
That's good. That is helpful. I know, when you get lost in it, it's good to have tools ahead of time. It's kind of like if you're trying to fix something in your garage and all you have is a hammer, but you need, a screwdriver. So right now we're giving hammers and screwdrivers and little tools so that before, we probably already had these emotions, but as you say, they come, life brings things back, circumstances in life. And if we get these tools right now and we remember them, if we have to watch the video over and over to cement the tool in our minds, in our hearts, so that when this big thing comes up, or even it could be a little thing, we can go, oh yeah, my tools. I can go to that tool. Where's that hammer? Where's that screwdriver? Where's that? What was that Duane said? Watch the video again.
That's it. See, that's my biggest advice is you don't really have to memorize these things. Just remember where the information is when you need it and, how to get to it and that sort of thing. It's sort of like me trying to do something around the house. I'll watch the YouTube on how to do it, and it will take me probably 3 trips to Home Depot to get everything I need because I didn't get the right size but I know where to go. I know where to get the tool. And, if I have to go 5 times, I'll go 5 times so I can fix whatever it is I need to fix. And so that's more important is remember where the tools are. Because there comes
chills. Yeah,
there comes times when you actually, because of a trauma, your brain floods with cortisol. You cannot remember. Your short-term memory shot, your long-term memory shot. So then you get even more frustrated because you can't remember what the tool was. If you could just remember where the tool is, that's the most important thing.
Thank you, Duane. So you can find the tools on America Lost and Found podcast or 411gina.org. Thank you so much, Duane, and we'll put your website up there in case anybody wants to find you. Thank you.
Thank you.